Hello, Toni.
Hello.
You're my lodger.
I am. Thank you for reminding me.
Yes, of course. I thought I'd remind you and the listeners.
Oh, bless. Yes, I am the lodger.
The lodger. And you're also the writer of the household.
Yeah, okay.
I think so. I think you're a great writer.
Thank you. You have actually read some of my stuff, yeah?
I have, yes.
Of course you have, yeah. Because I twist your arm.
Sorry?
Because I twist your arm.
You do, yes. No. There is a story that I think I've only read one all the way through. And there is a bit where a character falls or commits suicide from a bridge.
Okay.
And the emotions were so strong, they really hit me like
Really?
a brick. Yeah. They probably hit my tear ducts as well.
Oh my gosh.
How did you manage to do that? To
What?
capture the audience's emotions and play?
I don't know. It just all went with the story. I had the storyline. When I write, I kind of do an outline. I do a book outline of what I want the story to be and the major points I want to hit throughout the book.
Okay.
And this story was about emotion and about dealing with relationships and about heartbreak and about being let down and betrayal. And the character thought he had no other way out other than to kill himself.
Yeah.
As some people do.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't drag it up from the depths. It's already there.
It just happens. It flows out.
It's just, when I write, and I've told you this before, I love angst.
Yes, you have.
I love, all my stories have so much angst in them. I'm thinking maybe I should not maybe do that quite so much. But yeah, all my stories have angst. And I guess it just not comes naturally, but it just pours out of me when I write. It's just there.
I feel that
have to get it on the page.
Yes, of course, it's instinctual.
Yeah.
Like you're not thinking it through so much as you're throwing out there.
Yeah.
Brilliant. And that angst really, it plays such a huge role in your stories, I feel.
Yeah.
It's a build up, and when the actual thing happens, you just feel torn apart.
Brilliant.
Really.
Good.
Yeah.
That's what it's meant to do. Yeah, that's what it's meant to do. It's if like some of the books that I read as well, it's love stories and it's fluff and it's mush and it's gooey and it's heartrending and it's sweet. And I can do that a little bit.
Yes, yeah, definitely. You're great at that.
But
also.
there's different types of love stories and there's different types of feeling those emotions. And so my way of feeling them is to really get to grips with them and show maybe more reality, more real life.
Of course, yeah, because it's rare for a love story in real life to just be like
exactly
lovey-dovey stuff.
Exactly, rainbows and lollipops. That's what I say. Life isn't all rainbows and lollipops. So, yeah.
There is that heart-wrenching stuff also. You write about the twins, lay twins.
Twins,
French.
yes.
Yeah.
This is letting a dark secret out, isn't it?
Oh no, the whole world will know.
The whole world will know.
And what made you want to write about?
Oh gosh, that's going down a wormhole. That's going down a wormhole, isn't it? Don't laugh at me.
No, I'm laughing with you.
Not laughing at you, I'm laughing with you. Yeah. Okay. I've heard that one before. I've been a fan for a long time.
Yeah.
I've been a fan since 2010. Whoa. Since I first saw them dance. I don't know if people know who Les Twins are. They might not. They're hip-hop dancers. They're black, French, 6'4" hip-hop dancers. And they are considered the best dancers in the world.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
They did a show. They did a reality show with Jennifer Lopez called World of Dance about 3 years ago. And It was literally, there were different categories and you got all the best dancers in the world together to compete against one another, and they won.
Wow.
So they are officially the best dancers in the world, besides having that reputation. So yeah, I saw them dance, and as you know, I went to one of their workshops last year, and it was amazing. But yeah, and then of course you get the YouTube, the video wormhole again. It pulls you in and won't let you go until you've watched every single video there is to watch.
You must have seen thousands by this point.
Probably. I haven't actually counted, but probably. Yeah, and so watched all the videos and watched all the interviews, and they're interesting people. They're just very individually and it's the twin thing. It's the twin bond. Their relationship is so unique and so different that is why I think they have so many fan fiction books written about them, because their bond is so interesting.
Yeah, there's probably no other like it in the world.
And of course, that goes off on all kinds of weird and wonderful tangents.
Of course, yeah. Wherever the human mind will take you.
Exactly, wherever the human mind will take you.
And
yeah. and so, but because of their relationship, you can watch on any of their videos. There's videos about brotherly love, which, and they're constantly touching one another and feeling one another and loving on one another. And of course, that gives rise to a lot of rumour.
Of course.
And that's one of my books was based on that rumour.
Oh, not all of them?
No, not all of them.
Ah, right.
No,
okay.
no.
Do they have sex in all of them? Because
not all of them. In my books, or in all the ones that are out there.
in your ones?
In my ones, no, not all of them.
Oh, wow. Okay.
However, sex does make it a lot more interesting.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
it keeps the reader interested.
Of course, yeah. That's the audience that you're hitting so well. Was there sex in Different, which is your most popular?
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yes, they were. See, and this is what I try and explain to people, because I've had not a lot of fans, but some fans confront me and say, "It's sick, it's twisted. Why do you do this?" And it's like, but if you read a regular book and you have 3 different characters, they're 3 different characters. Do you know what I mean? Whereas only because they are real people, do some of the readers think they're still those real people in the books. But they're not. I turn them into characters. So like in Different, they're different, although in real life they're twins. They look the same. Same height, same age, everything. In the book, they're different ages, different heights, from different places. Do you know what I mean? So they look the same. I have in my mind the same character that they are in real life, but in the book they're completely different. So in Different, they're different ages, different heights, different backgrounds, different everything.
Do they have different personalities also?
Yes.
Wow.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So the personalities change from book to book?
Yes.
Right.
The characters change from book to book.
Ah.
They're not all the same character.
Wow,
Like in Painted Love, they're still the twins. They're still the twins. They're different people. So Here I Am, they're twins again, but they have girlfriends. They're not, Yeah. So in each book, and the one I've just done, Food of Love, a Christmas one, they were different characters, different ages, different backgrounds, etc., etc.
Brilliant. And do you often go for... So Larry, I get the sense that he's the more caring one.
Really?
But that's what I felt in the books. Was it Laurent or Larry that jumped off of the bridge? Laurent. He seems to always be the troublemaker. In Heel, he's sniffing lines of coke and doing horrible things to a prostitute, and Larry always seems to be the one that's helping.
Maybe that's how I see them in real life.
Right.
Maybe that's part of their character that they have. But I don't. Yeah, I've got to try and get away from that. Somebody else mentioned that the other day. Said that Laurent seems callous.
Right.
Always seems callous and uncaring and unforgiving. And I'm like, no, he's not. It's like, no, you don't get it.
I got the sense that he was a lovely person underneath, but he's using this anger and this aggression and these drugs to sort of push that down in a way. So he is a caring person.
Right.
But he disguises that with this bad boy attitude.
Yes. Right. Yes, absolutely. And it's funny because even when I see them on videos and interviews and things, my opinion changes. Sometimes I'll think Laurent's the bad guy, and sometimes I'll think Larry's the bad guy or the tough guy.
Right.
They're both really lovely because they are lovely people. When I met them in February, we spent quite a bit of time. I spent a lot of time talking with Larry. Of course, he's my boy now. He's my mate. He's my buddy.
Because you know him so well through the book. Right.
So I have a different perspective when I write now, because I know I know his nuances and what he says and his facial expressions. But yeah, Laurent tends to get thought of as the tough guy, the meanie. He's always called the meanie. People think he's mean because he's so blunt. I don't want to take a broad brush stroke, but
yeah, of course.
The way we think, especially as British people, the way we think about the French. Sorry, French people who are listening. The way we think about the French, that they're arrogant and they're opinionated and they're vociferous. But I like that.
Yeah, I do too.
Because they're blunt and they're to the point and they don't put up with crap.
Yes, gets things done quicker.
Exactly. And so that's the way they are. But I think Laurent gets thought of as being mean. Because of that, whereas Larry's a bit more softer and he's got more soft edges and he's a bit more caring and he's a bit more... Right. He's the Energizer Bunny. He's the Energizer Bunny. He's on the go, he's on the move, he's talking, he's laughing, he's dancing. Laurent is the cat. He prowls and he stalks and he walks slowly and he looks at you from under his eyes and he's just under his eyelashes and he just like yeah. So I think maybe that's where it comes from.
That makes so you've seen them in real life. You watched enough videos on the wormhole of YouTube.
Sounds so
no,
sounds
not
so
at all.
Pathetic, doesn't it?
Oh, I do the same with influencers that I have as well on YouTube.
Yeah, I guess they are influencers, aren't they?
Would you consider them as?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Laurent was up for an Influencer of the Year award by some organisation. He was up for an Influencer award because they do... You see them with kids and you see them in workshops and you see how inspiring they are. And when you first get there, they sit you all down and they give you a talk. They just talk to you. Like, this is where we've come from. They're former gangbangers. They're former... they're boys in the hood. Whoa. In France. They grew up with nothing. They're 2 of 9 children. They grew up with nothing and they danced in the streets for extra money. And that's how they got to, So they've done all that. They've been there, done that, got the T-shirt. So they know of what they speak. When they talk to you, it's from experience. And they are very inspiring.
Yeah, definitely. For it's often that you find people that come from these struggled backgrounds that are still very connected to their emotions and how they're touching everyone.
Yeah, yeah.
Sure.
They still surround themselves with their childhood friends, with their friends that they've had since they were teenagers.
That's incredible.
They're in their 30s now. And so they still have this grounding influence.
Wow.
Which is rare, I think, if you're, because they are A-listers, they're actors. They've been in Men in Black and Cats, and they're actors and models. They walk runway for Givenchy and Chanel and Dior.
Wow.
So they are at the top of their game, but you still see them out shopping with their childhood friends, which is lovely.
That is lovely. They haven't gotten lost in the fame like a lot of celebrities.
And they're still
do.
during lockdown. They're at Mama's house. They're at their mother's house. They're at their childhood home. because they didn't want to be anywhere else.
That's beautiful.
I know, it's lovely. They're such lovely people, and that's what I think their fans like about them.
That they are so connected to the real world.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And I guess that's what drives you towards them to an extent. I don't know.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
It's their personality. They are charming, and they are,
They are very.
They know how to reel you in.
They do.
But it's the twin bond. It's the relationship they have with each other. I think that makes them so intriguing.
Yes, 100%. There's something about twins that's got this. It's like, yeah, it's a bond it's different from any other brother sister friendship marriage. It's
right.
like so close.
Right.
It's like two people almost.
Yeah. Well, they're monozygotic twins, which is what's the word? Identical twins.
Right.
Sorry, monozygotic.
What is monozygotic?
Mono meaning one.
Right.
Zygote is a cell. So one cell.
Okay.
They're one cell that's split into two rather than two separate cells.
Oh, is that how? I did not know that.
So identical twins is the one cell, and fraternal twins is the two cells.
Right, and the Siamese twin is where it's split halfway and then everything happened, I assume.
Siamese twins.
Siamese, is that?
They're called conjoined twins.
Conjoined twins.
So they grow together. They don't actually separate completely.
Okay.
So part of their body is still together when they're born.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you were writing Different, did you have to do a lot of research into how these things happen? Because Different is about hermaphrodite.
Hermaphroditism, yeah.
Right.
See, every single story is about something completely out of the box, something completely different. As you know, all of my stories are, they have to have a message. They have to have something that you actually think about. Like I say, all the fluff and the mush is lovely. All the rainbows and lollipops. It's a lovely story to read. But I like to read a story that I can get my teeth into, that I can think about. That I'm reading about a subject that makes me want to research it, that makes me want to look into it more. So yeah, I did some basic research. And I mean, it's not a publishing deal where, that's worth hundreds of thousands of pounds. And I actually have to take a year to write a book.
Of course.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's all relative, isn't it? If I can churn out a book in 2 months, then obviously there's not an awful lot of research. But I do research, and I did do research on hermaphroditism, and it's very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting to me. Like, if a male, or most hermaphrodites are born female, but they have an appendage, they have a penis. But it's usually it doesn't work. The female side might. It might not be fertile. It might. So if they're born, they're usually raised as females. But some might want to be boys. It's like a child growing up realizing that they're a girl and they should be a boy. It's very interesting. But all the females, all the hermaphrodites that have grown up, that have been raised as females, if they're fertile and they give birth, all those children are boys. There's never been a girl been born to a female hermaphrodite.
Wow, that's
so
fascinating.
The genetics are amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's something very unique.
Yes, exactly.
Very rare.
And so, yeah, it's just an interesting subject. And I think any subject that I put into my books has to grab me. It has to be interesting to me. Otherwise, I couldn't write about it.
Of course, yeah. It would be too sloppy. It would be too soppy. Sorry, not sloppy.
Sloppy. It could be sloppy as well.
Well,
I don't know about
that.
Yeah, no, it has to grab me to be able to write it and to believe what I put on the page. If I didn't believe what I was writing, I wouldn't be able to do it.
Of course. Yeah. You have to be devoted and passionate about it to be able to feel that instinctual.
I think so. I think so.
Of course. There's some humour in your books as well. There is.
Tell me.
One of my favourite ones. I don't know why. It cracked me up. It's the the story that you wrote in a different format. That's a stream of consciousness.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the eyes have it.
Yes, that one.
Okay.
And there's a bit where I think, is it Larry and Laurent are having sex, and they think of Peter.
It's like sort of Larry and Laurent are having sex. Oh, in this book,
Casually.
Larry and Laurent are having sex. So in that book, oh, it sounds bad when you put it like that. But yes,
No,
anyway.
not at all.
Yes.
And
it's meant to be a very emotional moment.
it is, yes, they always are.
But he's yes.
And he thinks of Peter, and then he's like, "Oh, Peter on my mind and Larry in my eyes." That was brilliant.
Yeah, well, juxtaposition and all that. It's yeah. Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah.
It wasn't intended to be, but
It wasn't intended. Oh, it just
no, it's again, it's the emotion of the thing. It's the story. If you'd read, I don't know if you'd read that one all the way through. No, because it's hard going.
No, I haven't.
It's a little bit hard going. But yeah, he's had this relationship and now he's in this new relationship, but he can't seem to let the old one go. And yeah, obviously when you're in, if you're with the new guy and you're having, and that's the position you're in, forgive the pun, if that's the position you're in, then yeah, he couldn't let go for a particular reason. And I'm sure a lot of people are in that situation.
Of course, yeah. Where they found a new partner and they still have feelings for the last.
Yeah, exactly.
Very difficult.
Yeah.
And when you're writing this, like when I said Larry and Laurent having sex, it came to you as like a shock. Do you think of them as brothers or twins? Sorry.
Do I think of them as twins?
Do you?
Or as lovers?
Or yes, or as lovers, yeah.
I do.
As both or just?
As both.
Right, that's powerful.
That's the... I think because... Yeah, I'm not sick and twisted. I'm not.
No, you're
I just have a very good imagination. And again, it's that relationship they have. It's the rumour that is out there. It's seeing it for yourself and just letting your imagination wander. And you think, and I just thought, well, what if it was true? What if they were?
Yeah.
I mean, it happens. It happens.
That these sort of relationships.
twins are incestuous.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I suppose with identical twins, there's no risk of a genetic mutation because they can't get each other pregnant. It's the same gender.
Exactly.
Yeah. So there's no harm in it.
Yeah. That's why talking with my son, who my son is, Rowan.
Yes.
He's very smart. He kind of put in when I was talking to him about the book that I was going to write, and he was saying that, well, it's the, not Darwinism, but it's the genetic reality that's why obviously incest shouldn't work if it's between a brother and sister, because then offspring would be genetically mutated.
Yes.
So that's one of the reasons that it shouldn't work.
Yeah.
Why it shouldn't be. But it doesn't mean to say it doesn't happen.
Yeah, of course. And by it shouldn't be, do you mean like it should be sort of prohibited, like people like...
No, naturally. I mean, genetically, naturally.
Right. Okay.
It just wouldn't, because the genes are so closely related and so identical and so similar. Offspring or anything would be genetically mutated just because of that.
Which is very unfair on the child.
Yes.
And the family line.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you said you've known Larry and Laurent for 10 years? Or not personally?
No, not personally. Yes.
You've known of them, I should have said.
Yeah.
And At what point did you want to start writing these stories about them? Well,
I've been doing this for just over a year. But it took me ages, because I knew once I'd got, it's the wormhole again, isn't it? It's the black hole.
Of course.
Sucks you in. Sucked you in. I knew once I started reading these, it would only be a matter of time before that's all I did.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of
it's
course.
like the videos, it's like, once you start, you can't stop.
Yeah.
And I knew once I started reading, then I would want to write. I didn't think I could. I didn't think I could write. I thought it would be absolutely rubbish.
Wow.
But then I started reading some that were absolutely rubbish. And I thought, I can do better than this.
Mm.
And that's when I, put the first one up.
Yeah.
And it got a good reception. And I thought, oh, God, that's it. The end of the world as we know it.
And the beginning of a new one.
And the beginning of a new one.
A great one, yeah. So it's been about 4 years or so, 3 years that you've been writing? Or
only a couple.
Only a couple?
Only a couple.
Okay. And
yeah.
It's the first time you've ever written, you were saying? That's incredible. They're such good books.
I used to, thank you. Thank you. Genuinely, thank you. I wish more of people that knew me, I wish more of my friends and family would read them, because then I would know, I would get genuine feedback.
Mm-hmm.
It's, like we've talked about before, it's a niche market. It's a niche readership.
Yeah.
It would be very hard for the people that read my books to not like them.
Of course, yeah.
Because the readership is already there. They know the characters. They know what they look like. I don't have to describe them. I don't have to... Do you know what I mean? It's very lazy. I don't have to do anything at all, really, except put words in the right order.
But
they already love them, so they know whatever I write about them is going to be pretty good. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so it's a
course.
niche readership that I'm not going to get much backlash from.
Of course, when they see Larry and Laurent, they're excited, and it's brilliant.
It's like, it's a new book. Yeah, okay, let's read.
Right.
And especially if there's some sunshine and lollipops, if there's some sex, if there's... all my books have to have something. They have to have love, lust, sex, and a message.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the message.
There has to be some kind of message there. There has to be some kind of social awareness.
Like with different, it's accepting hermaphrodites.
Yeah.
And making awareness to that.
Yeah. With The Food of Love, it was one of the characters, well, both the characters are gay, but one of the characters' family accepted him and the other characters didn't. So it was about that family acceptance.
Right.
Of being gay. And so that was the message there.
That's powerful that you have that whole structure built up. And you've got to give yourself some credit. It isn't just... because there's a niche, they're going to read it. Yeah, it is really talented work. Like, you do describe the characters. You say about their caramel skin. That's something that sticks in my mind. It's very emotive language. It goes deep into these people. And even as someone that didn't know anything about Les Twins beforehand, I was able to get gripped. So,
oh, really? Okay.
Definitely. I think if this does go out there, it could be huge for sure if it's not just towards the niche.
Thank you. That's another thing I think about, is if it was about a regular character, if I were to, like, I'm thinking of putting Different, because Different is so popular. Different's got over 10,000 reads now. And someone we know was saying that if you got a publishing deal with a publishing company, they would consider 5,000 books a success.
And you've got 10,000, double that.
Yeah. So it makes me think, if I put that book out there in the general readership, change the names, do a bit more description, I'm just wondering what the reaction would be.
Of course. Would it be just as easy for you to write about Larry and Laurent's relationship if they weren't called Larry and Laurent? Or would you keep the names? So
if I put it out to general readership?
Yes.
No, I'd change the names.
Okay.
I'd change the names.
Would it have the same magic for you? Because I feel like...
Would I think of the characters as being them?
Yes.
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Because they have their traits. Because the characters have their traits.
Okay.
And so, yeah, it would just be changing the names.
Okay. So you would
we'll
you would know that it's Larry and Laurent,
Yeah.
but whoever else reads it.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And yeah.
As readers, as writers of these two characters, when you see them winning these awards, do you ever see them and like be proud, like, my boys?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. They're my boys. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, I do. Because I've kind of known them and known of them and what they're capable of and what they do and how good at it they are. Yeah, there is absolutely pride there.
Of course, yeah. You really admire them for everything they've done.
It's not just the writing thing, it's not just the stories, it's not just the rumours, it's just the two people they are, what they've overcome, how far they've come, and what they've achieved. And I think that would be the same with anybody that you're watching or admiring.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I have the same with, for example, Joe Rogan, a podcaster, and when he gets a deal with a company like Spotify, for example, I'm like, yes, you go, man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
He's been doing it for 10 years or so, and it's something to be proud of. Or a director, let's say, like David Lynch, when he's on his way of putting movies out there that is now being accepted on Netflix.
Yeah.
Even though they're a bit different.
Yeah.
They're being accepted, and it's lovely to see that.
I think different is good.
Mm-hmm.
That's why a lot of my writing is different.
Yeah.
Because I don't like reading the same old thing or seeing the same old thing. And that's why probably you think David Lynch is. And that's why he's so good. He has to obviously you have to have the talent in the first place. But I think being different is good.
Yes, definitely, yeah.
Because it makes people think a different way. It puts a different perspective on things. And that can and broadening a person's horizons, broadening someone's point of view of the world can only be good.
Of course, it's opening up a new avenue. It's opening up that box of creativity.
Exactly.
There's no harm that could come from it, really. And do you ever, whilst you're writing, do you ever think of the books as, I want it to be different, or do you just let it flow and you're passionate about it? Or is it just what comes? You don't think, what I'm asking is, do you think of the audience and the need to be original, or do you just send it out there?
It starts off just being sent.
Okay.
It starts off just the vomit test.
Yes.
Put it out there and fix it up. Get it written on the page and then correct it afterwards. I have ideas. I have loads of ideas rolling around in my head, like, the premise for the next one. I mean, I'm still in the middle of book number 8, and I have the ideas written down for number 9 and number 10 already.
Wow.
So it's not going to stop anytime soon, and I don't know if that's a good thing or not.
No, that's an amazing thing. It's an art.
So I have ideas, and I have ideas, and if they take my fancy, if I keep thinking about that idea, then it becomes a book.
Right. Yeah. You throwing that idea around there, and it's hitting other ideas.
But one thing I did want to say about do I write for the readers, or do they have an influence? Yes, they do. I wrote one of the short stories, and I had an idea of what I wanted it to say and how I wanted it to go. And someone who was another good writer said, I want to see this, I want to see that, I want them to do this, and I veered off my pathway and went down hers. And it didn't turn out to be what I wanted.
Right.
And after that, I thought I will pay less attention to what my readers want, because then that sends me off all over the place, and I don't achieve what I wanted to achieve in the first place. So I pay attention, I take notice. You know, they comment and it's lovely, and I comment back. But they liked my writing in the first place.
Yes. And
do you know what I mean? They liked my books and my writing in the first place, so I don't need to change that.
Yeah. The fact that it doesn't go the way that they wanted it, like, if they give you a comment and they say, make Larry and Laurent get married, and you're like, okay, then it happens. There's no angst. But when Larry and Laurent have a huge fight and one ends up getting knocked out, let's say, and it's not how they expected it, it's such an emotional drive that is what they've been reading for, the unexpected.
That one that you mentioned earlier, the Painted Love one, where he jumps off the bridge. Oh my God, you thought their world had ended. Oh my God, I got so much backlash. How dare you kill him off? How dare you? How can this end? This has to end badly. This can't end well. And I'm like,
you wait.
Just keep going. Just keep going. But it was so funny in a way, because they just they just got so involved in it, which is nice, which is good. That's what they're meant to, that's what I want them to do, is to get involved, to get emotional about it.
Yes.
You know? It's like watching a soap opera or TV. You get involved, you get emotional, you want it to be a certain way, and when it doesn't go the way you want it, you get all upset.
Yeah, you do.
Get all bent out of shape.
That's... And when you eventually turn the story around, it must be beautiful to see their reactions of joy as well, because I don't want to give a spoiler, so
no, okay.
I don't want to say too much. But it must be quite a joy of seeing all these people
It is. It is. A question I asked recently, the book that I'm writing now, I asked one of my regular commenters, I'm like, would you hate me if they didn't end up together? Because it always seems that they want them to end up together, you know, happily ever after and all that. And I don't want every book to be the same.
Of course.
What's the point of reading the book if you know what the ending's going to be?
That's true.
Do you know what I mean? I'm like, will you hate me? Will you all hate me if they don't end up together? And without one saying that everyone went yes.
No.
I know.
Not a single person was like, I'll be okay with it.
No.
Wow.
So it's like, so that's an uphill battle. That is an uphill battle, and I still don't know the ending to this book. Wow. Because I want to take a risk and have it different, but I don't want to take that risk and have everyone hate me.
Yeah, no. Ooh. We'd have pitchforks outside.
The peasants are revolting.
The peasants. Oh. Was it common for writers to kill Larry and Laurent off, or Laurent?
No. What other writers that wrote their fan fiction?
Yeah.
No.
So you were a first. That must have been a shock, because they're reading all these stories one after another.
Exactly.
Soppy ways.
Well, think about it. They're fans. They're fans. They, for want of a better word, they love them. They want to see them. They have this thing in their mind. They want to see them together. So of course, a happy ending releases endorphins, and it makes you feel good. It physically makes you feel good.
It does.
Reading a happy ending has a physical effect, which I didn't know. And it makes sense. A happy ending makes you feel, oh. So if I did an unhappy ending, people physically would feel ill. So I didn't want to be responsible for that. But I am adamant I will not. There will be one book where there is not an unhappy ending, but maybe not a happy one.
Yeah, not exactly how they want it.
What they wanted, yeah.
Do you think you'd ever...
And I don't know how to go about that yet.
Very, very carefully.
Very, very carefully.
You don't want to break too many hearts. It would be fun, though.
Yeah, but all I can think about is, you know the figures. I've told you the figures, and I am really proud that 25,000 people read my books. That would make me a lot of money.
It would, yeah. Yeah, sure 25,000 books sold.
Yeah, so I've got to keep most of them happy, even though I don't really want to.
Of course.
And I'm saying that through gritted teeth.
Yes, I can see.
I don't want to.
Well, I wonder if it would actually... I don't know how this world works at all, the world of books. But I wonder if it would... Like, I assume it was the unique way that you write that made you quite popular. The fact that there's a story in there that's gripping, and it's not sop and love and romance and... What was it you said? Rainbows and lollipops?
Rainbows and lollipops. It's not all rainbows and lollipops.
It's not. I was wondering if you did actually kill one of them off, like they're actually gone, or maybe not that depressing, but if it would actually like skyrocket, like it's not been done before, sort of thing, like blasphemous.
I mean, that's what I want to do. I want to write a book that hasn't been done before. You have to walk that line, don't you? It's a double-edged sword. It's if you walk along the top. If you fall, that's it. You have to walk along the double-edged sword. You have to give your readership what they want, but you have to stay true to what you want to write. Right. And sometimes those two things just don't mix. And so I think you have to find that fine line where they do. Where you have to do your best to try to make them, or you just write the way you want to write, and you just hope that people like your writing enough that they will still read it.
Yeah, well, I can imagine.
Regardless of the consequences.
Yeah. Have you ever taken into someone's comment like to consideration and been like, okay, I'll change the story, apart from the huge change that happened, and for it to go well, like people actually. Or did they like it when you changed it the way when they made that comment and you changed it? Did the reader like it, the change? Oh, they did, but you didn't. Right.
Because it wasn't the original way that I wanted the story to go.
Yeah.
But another thing that you and I both know, looking at those masterclasses, watching and learning from a lot of writers, you should just write what you want to write anyway.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, you shouldn't change what you wanted to do in the first place. However, don't be afraid to get rid of something. Don't be afraid to change halfway through because it's not working. Like if you have a darling, if you have a character that you absolutely love, but it's not working in the story, get rid of them. Just don't put them in there. And it breaks the writer's heart, but if they're not useful, if it's not relevant to the story, they don't belong there.
That's true. Yeah, it would have confused me, like, if there were multiple love interests in the painting rather than the girl from the gallery.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would get in the way.
Yeah.
And did you ever have characters like that you've cut out, that you've written and then been like, fuck, they're just noise?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. There was a scene I wanted to write. It was angst, anger, emotion, tears. And I really wanted to put the scene in, and it's like, but it has no relevance to the story. It has no relevance to the other characters. So it doesn't need to be there. And it broke my heart to not put it in, but because that was my original idea. But sometimes you just have to.
Just blap them.
Yeah.
Just get rid.
Yeah.
Oh, that's hard.
Killing your darlings.
Yeah.
That's what it's called, killing your darlings.
That's the actual name for it. Wow. Oh, wow. I might have to kill a darling soon, actually, in the story I'm writing. That's annoying.
Kill your darlings.
Oh, I never considered that he might be a bit of noise. Oh, no, that's painful.
Sorry.
Just thinking about it.
That's my opinion. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying that's what you should do, but that's just, yeah.
I think you're totally right. Well, I don't know. I'll write it, and then if it's noise, then I can just delete him out.
Another difference with this, though, is that because the books are written so fast and because they're so short, you have to get a certain amount done in a certain amount of time. Do you know what I mean? Whereas if you've got longer books that are hundreds of pages long, you can afford to pad out a character, or you can afford to do a scene that's seemingly irrelevant because it's background.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
You start off padding out the background and setting the scene and writing the story. And you can afford to do that in longer books. But in these shorter ones, I think you have to just pick up the pace.
Of course.
And get it going.
Yeah, I suppose with the shorter books, there's only about 4 or 5 crucial events, whereas in a 1,000-page book, there's like in the tens.
Well, there's more because the characters intertwine and the scenes intertwine and they all mesh together, and you can see you have the luxury of the time and the space to be able to go into more depth. That's maybe why my writing's angsty, because I go into depth, but I do it quickly.
Right. Yeah.
That's why it's more maybe emotional. That's why it's
That's interesting. Yeah.
Because yeah. Let's get Laurent jump off the bridge in the first 3 chapters, and then we'll just see how it goes from there.
Oh, is that the case? You see how it goes, and is it always planned out, or are there?
No, one, the one that I'm writing now, Larry gets brain damage. Poor Larry. He gets brain damage. He tries to kill himself. He runs himself into a tree, but it didn't work, and he ended up surviving. But he had brain damage. And he has this thing, he's in this group home for his recovery, and his brother and his therapist are talking and saying, no, he didn't want this and he didn't want that, and has he ever really looked at his reflection properly? And his brother says, no, he's never looked, not really. We kept all the mirrors out of the way. In hospital he had no mirrors. All he's got now is like a little shaving mirror, so it's all distorted anyway.
Right.
So he can't, because he's had plastic surgery and his face is lopsided and he doesn't look like his twin anymore. Oh. Their whole identity was the fact they were twins and they looked the same. Now he doesn't look anything like his twin. So that is going to have an effect on one psyche, apart from the fact that you've got brain injury anyway, a traumatic brain injury. And so there's this, it's a dream sequence, but I make it feel, I don't say it's a dream sequence, so people think it's real.
Oh, that is cruel.
Where he people think it's real. Where he goes into a bathroom at night and it's kind of like the light's coming in from outside, and so everything's shadow. And he literally pulls his hands down his face and pulls his face off. And it's to do with the fact that he's never looked at himself in the mirror before. And they're yelling at me and they're saying, "You got me bawling over a dream. You got me crying my eyes out over a dream." I'm like, surprise.
Is that book finished now?
No.
Oh, there's more to go.
It's still ongoing. So that's like angsty. But going back to the original question, was that just poured out of me. That wasn't even an idea in my head when I started writing it.
Wow.
When I started writing that chapter, it just, I'm like, that's what I could do.
It flowed out.
Shit, that's what I can do. I'm going to do this. I'm going to write it. And I was there till 2:00 in the morning. You see me at the kitchen table writing till 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
And it just...
Totally. When it's there, you can't let go of it because it'll be lost.
Yeah.
Wow. You must feel like a bit of a god.
Must be what?
Feel like a bit of a god.
Oh, please. What? No. Crikey, no.
You're creating an entire world, and then there's this option to be like this person who... He exists. I like to think of characters that exist. Mm. And suddenly you're like, haha, I'll have him rip his face off.
Exactly. No, yes, exactly. That's exactly what it was.
You lived in America for a while as well. Mm. How did you find that?
I loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Oh. Yeah,
we lived in San Diego, or a suburb of San Diego. My ex-husband was in the military.
Okay.
And it was the best of both worlds. I absolutely loved it. Yeah, because Rowan was born over there. He's got dual citizenship.
Oh, amazing. Very useful.
So he has He can have either a British or an American passport.
Yeah.
But no, I loved it. The military look after their people over there. They absolutely do.
Were you involved a lot with the military?
With the military families and the wives, yes, it was. There's so much to do over there. I mean, we were Southern California, for goodness sake. You know, the sun shines 364 days of the year. It might be one day when you don't have sun.
Oh wow!
And it's every day you wake up and it's exactly the same. You know, it's not going to be any different. But it's so family oriented and there's so much to do. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah. What is it like with the impact on your work? Do you feel like living in America has affected how you write at all? Do you have any ideas that you may not have had if you'd lived in England your entire life?
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
They're subconscious.
That's a question I don't know.
Of course.
You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
It affects it in that, yeah, I can pull on that experience, or I can bring that experience into a story, or I can, one of the stories, they go off and live in the city that I used to live in. It's based, their home is based in Imperial Beach, where I used to live.
Oh,
so I can pull that kind of thing into it. You know, it's a beach community, it's lovely.
That's the scene from the painting. That was from San Diego.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. In your second book.
Yeah. And
do you feel like you've improved as a writer? Sorry, the microphone seems to have dropped.
Is it supposed to do that?
It wasn't planned. It's not.
Sorry, minor adjustment here. Minor adjustment. There we go.
Okay.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's better. Nice.
It's still moving.
Oh, is it? Oh, Christ.
Do you want me to hold it?
Yeah, if that's okay with you. We've only got 8 minutes left.
Okay, fair enough. I will hold that.
I think there's a phone ringing as well. Well, it's a spoken mess. It's allowed to happen.
There you go.
So, you have these plans for 2 other... but
Answer the
phone. Sorry.
Yes.
You have plans for 2 books plus the ending of the one that you're currently on. Is that right?
Yeah.
So, whilst you're preparing for that, do you ever write out a full scene for one of the future books?
At one point, a while ago, I was actually writing 3 books at the same time.
Oh man.
But I don't think I'll do that again.
Was it too much?
It was too much. It was. They all went the way I wanted them to. They all said what I wanted them to say. But I had to get myself in a different frame of mind for each one. Mm-hmm. And that was proving a bit difficult.
Right.
But no, I'll do, like, I'm in the middle of this one now and I'll finish it. Because I'm writing about 2 chapters a week, so that's not too bad. But some of them can be 40 chapters, so...
Wow.
Yeah. But no, I have an idea and I'll write the idea down, and then maybe a few days later I'll write an overview, you know, with pinpoints as to what I want the story to say. Oh, it's you.
It was my mother's phone.
Oh, okay.
My nan ringing.
Bless.
We could have had my nan joining the podcast.
There you go.
Yeah, sorry, what were you saying? I missed the last bit of...
No, so I'll do an overview, or I might do some pinpoints, or I might do some actual chapter outlines, but I won't actually start writing it while I'm writing another one.
Okay.
It's too confusing.
Of course, yeah. And you said you put yourself in that sort of frame of mind. Does that sort of like method acting where you might go about your day and you'll maybe be making a cup of tea and then think, my character could make a cup of tea this way.
Yes.
And a scene is created.
Yeah.
Right.
Or I'll be thinking, I think that's why I can't sleep at night as well. Your mind races as you go to sleep anyway, doesn't it? You always think about, what could I have done? What should I have done? What should I do tomorrow? What can I do differently?
Yes.
But I go through my characters and what I've written that day.
Nice.
And I think, Oh, I know. I could have him do this. Oh my gosh, I could have him do this. And I haven't got to the stage yet where I keep a notepad by my bed because I know what that will be like. I'll be writing things down in the middle of the night, and I don't want to do that.
That's actually an issue I have. Well, yeah, I'll get up in the night and walk. I keep it by my chest of drawers intentionally to be like, okay, stay away from it. It's time to sleep.
Exactly.
And then I'm like, no, get up.
But I will admonish myself because I will start on the chapter again and I'll think, what did I think last night? What did I tell myself? What do I want him to do? What was that? I can't remember what it was really good. I can't remember.
It's so painful when an idea like that is lost. Have you ever lost an entire book idea, like you come up with a plot line for an entire book that you think, wow, that'll be amazing, that'll be very interesting, and then it's gone, you forget you have? Not that I forget, but that I rethink it and maybe write it down and it's not as good as I thought it was. Or I think it's not going to be what I want it to be, and so I'll just discard it. Right. Do you think with any of those books could ever be saved with further adjustments, like by tweaking, or is it just unsavable? It doesn't get past the first rough draft. It doesn't get past the overview. Okay, and it's the idea itself, or the way that the story would unfold, the characters. Just the idea itself. Okay. Just that it's not full enough. Maybe it doesn't have the message. Okay. I want it to have. Of course, yeah. Or it's a repeat, or it's similar to what I've already done. And then I won't do it again. Every story has to be different. Mm-hmm. Like the next one, you know what the next one's about. Because you're a character. Oh, yes. Yeah, I am. Oh, I feel honoured. That's going to be very interesting. Are we allowed to talk about that at all? If you want to, if you've got time. Yeah, sure. The rule is a minimum of an hour, so we can go over that. Oh, bless. No, it's, did you want me to outline? Go for it, yeah. What it is? Your sister and I went to see a movie called Misbehaving, and I thought it was going to be a chick flick. Well, it was a chick flick, but it had a message, and I like any story, obviously, that has a message in it that makes you think about things. And obviously it resonated with me because I'm still thinking about it. It was about the 1970 Miss World pageant, and it was a time when the women's movement was really taking off and really becoming quite strong. And I thought it's going to be fluff and mush and rainbows and lollipops. And it wasn't. It was about the resurgence of the women's movement. It was about women's lib. And about how the demonstrators demonstrated at the Miss World pageant, and what they did to achieve the outcome that they did. But a lot of the story was about how each of the individual participants viewed it. Right. Like Miss Sweden was the favourite to win. She was this tall, willowy, blonde, gorgeous girl. Yeah. She didn't want to win. She had no interest in the competition whatsoever. Why was she a part of it? Because it comes with what's the word? When you get your schooling paid for, when you get your education, a scholarship. It comes with a scholarship. So they got money and they got to go to college for participating, and that's all she wanted. And then you had the first black contestant ever in a beauty pageant, Miss South Africa, and how she viewed it all. About how the American girls got all upset because they thought they were the winners and they weren't. Oh, it was So each character was interesting, and so my next book is going to be an alternative Mr. World. Oh, where different obviously the twins will be in it and they will be participants. Yes, and so it will go, and these men don't look like you would think, they're not bodybuilders, they're not hulks. It's like an alternative Mr. World, where maybe cerebral faculties are more important than what you look like. I don't quite know what that means.
cerebral.
Yes.
The way they think and the way they see the world.
Right. And faculty.
How you process things.
Right. So their personality, their character.
Their personality, their character, what they do in the world. Yeah.
Okay.
Is just as not more important, but just as important as what they look like, and the fact that this different vision of male beauty is not the big bodybuilder type.
Yes, I really like that. That's fascinating concept.
So we'll go into the characters and the personalities in that.
Yeah. And
how they treat themselves, how they treat each other, how the world views them, how they view the world. Like, it occurred to me, would men demonstrate against a male beauty pageant? Because women had.
Yes.
But would men? They probably wouldn't.
No, if there weren't any wrongdoings happening.
I haven't done the research yet. But I can't imagine men getting all bent out of shape because another man is strutting his stuff across the stage to be viewed as a piece of meat.
Oh, I don't know. Some men would can be a little competitive.
I mean, you're a man. You tell me, would they?
In terms of competitiveness, possibly, but not in... I imagine was it Miss World?
Yes.
I imagine a lot of that was out of feminism as well.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. That movement was gathering momentum.
Right.
And so, the rebellious women, obviously, saw it as a slight against womankind. You know? What does she think she's doing, strutting her stuff in front of men?
Wow, that's very deep, yeah. Whereas men...
I don't think men would think that way.
No, they'd either have the attitude... Obviously, I can't speak for all of mankind, but I think they'd either have the attitude of, yes, go on, brother, you're doing good.
Yeah, go for it, you represent.
Yeah, exactly, represent.
Represent.
Or the attitude of, like, competition, like, got to be the better man sort of thing. But I don't know if that exists so much it must exist in sports, I suppose. But there's more sportsmanship, I suppose. And there's not so much of a need to prove as women had to back then.
That's another perspective, is the camaraderie. Would they become friends? Would they all get along? Would they, would there be competitiveness? Like, I would think, and from what I know, maybe in female beauty pageants, there's a bitchiness, and what have you. But would they all get along? Would they all be friends? Would there be so much competitiveness?
It would be hard as hell. Well,
so that's another. That's a whole book's worth.
That is, yeah. Do you think you'll write about that at all? The camaraderie and the competitiveness?
Oh yeah, probably. Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'll read this one.
Oh, yeah, because I asked you, did you want to be a protagonist or an antagonist? And you want to be the rebel.
Yes, of course.
You want to be the fly in the ointment.
And anarchy. Yes.
Anarchy. Anarchy rules.
Does. Okay. Thank you for joining me.
You're very welcome. It's been fun.
It has, yeah. Bye.
Bye.